If you change your mind, you change your life, just change your mind. The Lord loves you. He's standing with his arms wide open for you. Oh, be encouraged, cause this day's for you. Don't you let this opportunity pass by you. Yeah. Oh, change your mind.
Come on, stand to your feet for just a couple minutes for me. Let's get to this message. We're still in this character series. Have y'all been watching that? Have y'all been streaming? God been kicking y'all butt like mine? Oh, we got something for you today, though. I need you to be ready to take some good notes. Where we coming from, Tina? Matthew 26. Y'all know this story, but we're going to walk through it again. It says this, then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane and said to his disciples, sit here while I go over there and pray. And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, that would be James and John, and he began to be grieved and distressed. Then he said to them, my soul is deeply grieved to the point of death. Remain here and keep watch with me. Go ahead and move the slide, team. And he went a little beyond them, and he fell on his face, and he prayed, saying, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet, not as I will, but as you will. And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping, and said to Peter, so you men could not keep watch with me for 1 hour? Keep watching and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went away again a second time and prayed, saying, my Father, if this cannot pass away unless I drink it, your will be done. Again he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them again and went away and prayed a third time, saying the same thing once more. Have you ever asked God for something and told God he can have what he wants, then you go back and ask him again? Did you really mean that he could have what he wanted? Then he came to the disciples and said, are you still sleeping and resting? Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up. Let us be going. Behold, the one who betrays me is at hand. You may be seated. We are in the same series, Character. And today's message is entitled, Can I Trust You? Say that with me so I'm not out here by myself. Can I trust you? Mercy. If you've noticed in the drawing, and I mentioned this to you via streaming, but I want you to notice it in person. You probably can see it a little bit better now that you're here. You see the word character, and it's up under all of these boulders. Can y'all see that? And each of those boulders represent life. Your ability to handle life is determined by the strength of your character. Let me say that again. How you are presently handling life reveals the strength of your character. I need us to understand something. Well, I want y'all to say something with me. Say this with me. Just trust me. Say this with me. Say, I am becoming God's leader. So I wanted you to say that because I need you to understand why I talk to you the way that I do. I don't talk to you, I don't teach you, I don't preach to you as if you're going to be an also-ran or somebody comfortable being in the shadows. I talk to you, I teach you in a manner where I believe that you've been called to step out to the forefront. I believe that you've been called to lead your family. So that's how I talk to you. So I want to frame that for you. So as we begin this conversation, I need you to remember this. And it doesn't matter where you've been. As April said, it doesn't matter what you've gone through. I'm talking about right now, who you are becoming now. So again, your character, listen to me with this. Your character determines how trustworthy you are. Y'all hear that? Now watch this piece here. And the size of your dream determines how trustworthy you need to be. Let me say that again. I need y'all to hear that. Your character is determining how trustworthy you are. Point one. Anybody got a dream? Anybody got a call? Got a vision? Anybody? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Okay, I'm just checking because I thought that's what we did. The size of that vision is trying to tell you how trustworthy you need to be. Anybody got a big vision? Truth be told, everybody that raised their hands to say yes, because God don't give small visions. Our problem is this. We have big visions, but we've been developing little trust. You haven't developed the character to warrant the level of trust that your vision requires. Are y'all listening? Y'all act like I stepped on some toes. It's okay, though. It's okay, right? Because I'm here to get this for me. This ain't for nobody else. I ain't deflecting this on nobody else. Who's it for? All right, let's get our minds right. So, before we go deeper, let's do a quick recap. Put my recap slide up for me, Tina, because I want to remind you what this little thing about character. You got to hold on to these things. Number one, character represents the impressions or the marks you leave on someone's heart. Character is not what you do when you're by yourself. Character is what you do when you're with us. Now, by yourself, you've been shaping it, but we don't know what it is until you're with us. And so it is the marks that your behavior, that your conversations, that your actions leave on us. Y'all got that? Number 2 tells you a little bit more about character. It says that these impressions can be good or they can be bad. Most of us know how to get started by making good impressions. We've been trained enough that even if it ain't genuine and sincere, we know how to fake it. Am I right about it? We don't normally show out when we first meet people. Right? We know, even if we ain't developed, we know how to front. Ain't that a trip? Instead of using energy to develop the real thing, we use energy to develop the front. Number 3 says, these good impressions that we make on people, the good turns to bad when life hits you where you are not healed. I need us to understand that, because I'm telling you, these messages have been working for me and been checking me like nobody's business. When life hits your broken place, you start to show out on people. Because you don't know how to respond properly. And so we injure those who are closest to us. Am I right about it? And listen to me carefully now. We don't just hurt anybody. We hurt the people who have been blessing us. We don't run out and hurt strangers because we're too busy making good impressions on them. But the ones who we think that their character can handle us showing out, we hurt the ones that already have a track record of blessing us. And if we get real honest with ourselves, Tell ourselves the truth. They ain't did nothing. We just mad at life. We're just mad at circumstances. We're tired of being shut up in the house. We're tired of wearing masks. We're tired of doing all these other things that life has shown us. We're tired of our personal, interpersonal issues going on. And so somebody's got to catch these blows. And so we have a tendency to show out on those who already love us. Isn't that amazing? How we jeopardize love. Before said, you start damaging the relationships that bless you, and you start leaving bad marks on people's what? And that matters, because the heart is where all of us house our priorities, our values, and our limitations. If you damage my heart, I'll change my priorities. What used to be first won't be first, because if I go pursue the first thing, I might run into you. You want an example? Coming to church used to be a priority, but you hurt me there, so I'm going to avoid church. I changed my priority because you. What I consider to be valuable, I consider friendship to be valuable. I consider serving to be valuable. But if you mark me too deeply there, I'll avoid the place that I could express my love to God the best, because you marked me. I will now receive the limitations that your words now imposed upon me, because you said stuff to me that you didn't even believe, but you said it because you were hurt and somebody had to catch it. You heard about something that I had nothing to do with, but you said something ugly about me. And so you don't put a mark on them, you just put a mark on them, you leave a mark on them, which means I mark you and leave. I'm gone, but my mark is present. So I can't even work it out with you. I'm just struggling with the mark. Am I making sense? See, because I need you to hear this in two ways, not just what people have done to you, but what you have done to people. That matters. See, most of us, all we can think about, and I know some of you are already guilty of it right there in that moment, that all you kept thinking about is what somebody has done to you. But what have you given out? Who can't worship like they used to because I've been marked by you? Who doesn't trust people like they should? Who's still avoiding relationships? Who's still just superficial in their interactions because the last time they got deep with somebody, I got marked by you. And before you just claim to be a victim, guess what normally happens? The victim becomes the perpetrator. So if you're one that always claiming that people hurt you, I promise you by now you got a trail of bodies behind you too. So somebody say, "Ooh, we got to heal." Y'all didn't say it like I said it. Let's try that again so y'all can't even follow instructions. Come on, we've been out of church that long. Somebody say, "Woo, we got to heal." Because I'm talking to you because you're a leader, right? And you got big vision, right? And big vision, it's a big vision because guess what? You can't do it by yourself. And you don't want your reputation of marks to proceed to interrupt your future. Y'all listening? Because I know we can shout and praise the Lord has forgiven me. Yeah, but guess what? Here's stuff we don't talk about a lot. Lord has forgiven me. But has man? I don't need man. The devil is a lie. And you too. I'm going to show you in just a minute. Welcome back. Miss y'all. Listen, And see, I can talk to y'all like that because y'all my people. Y'all, I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm trying to be instructive. And sometimes you got to drink it with no juice behind it. See, some of y'all who ain't been saved that long know what I'm talking about. See, some of you wanted to burn going down, right? It ain't good if it don't burn. Look at y'all praising the Lord over there. We're going to bring back a Tarian service. Get that out of you. Listen, my bad. I'll be there with you. The strength of your character. The strength of your character. Because I told you your character will turn bad. And it turns bad at the place of your brokenness. The strength of your character is determined by how far you can go before you show out. That right there was just so plain, wasn't it? The strength of your character determines how much you can be trusted. And I need us to understand something, saints. Trust is essential. It's essential for anything to be accomplished in the earth. Again, here's why. Because God has not given you anything that you can build by yourself. Somebody's got to believe in your word. And so I want you to understand this. Again, if you'll take my word, if you'll just believe that trust is essential, then the enemy starts to make sense to you. Watch this. See this, and see, because trust is necessary, now you can begin to make sense of why the enemy works overtime to try to sow seeds of discord, seeds of, watch this, suspicion, which is why the Bible says you and I have been shaped in what? Iniquity. And you've learned that iniquity is what? Suspicion. And so the enemy all your life has been trying to make you suspicious of other people because he understood that if you can't trust somebody you're suspicious of, and if you can't trust them, you can't build. Did that go too fast? Because you don't trust folk, you can't connect with folk who've been assigned to help you get to the next place. Because everybody is a potential heartbreak to you. And so the enemy works overtime trying to make sure that he can find somebody. Listen, because we're all receptive to this. It ain't just them, it could be you. He's trying to find somebody that's receptive to being divisive. And the way that he is divisive is that you begin to sow words of suspicion. You ain't down there at that church no more? Nah. I don't want to talk about them, but I just had to leave. What is that? Suspicion. You and so-and-so ain't friends no more? I was wondering how long that was going to last. Because, but I ain't going to talk about them. I can't reach for reconciliation if you now just place suspicion between us. I can't obey God because God has commanded us to do what? Reconcile. If you have an ought with your brother, talk about them. No. Go to them. But the enemy gives you somebody who's eager to feed you suspicion. And so not only are you now having an ought, you just infected somebody else with your ought, and they ain't did nothing to them. How many times has somebody convinced you to fall out with somebody who's done nothing to you? Ain't did a thing to you. You don't even know them. We still are like little kids in the sandbox. You can't be my friend if you theirs. Negro, I'm grown. Okay. Y'all don't want to go there with me, okay? And so this is why, listen, this is why God puts so much emphasis on his word. Because he understands that you and I have been shaped in iniquity. We have a tendency to distrust even God. Even God. So God has all of this emphasis on his word because he understands that if you can't believe my word, you can't believe me. That's why scripture says he places his word above his what? Name. There's no need for you to call my name if you can't trust my word. He says, so my name with you has no power because you don't trust what I said. God has said, I'm so determined to make you believe in me that I call myself the word. Letting you know there's no distinction between what I say and what I do. I am what I say. Then he turns around and tells me and you, hey, make sure that your yea is yea and your no is no. Make sure your word is your bond. Because if not, people can't. And if they can't trust you, they can't work with you. Am I making sense? And so I'm trying to warn you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, because we're talking about the broken places. It doesn't matter how grand your vision is. It doesn't matter how much time you've taken to put it down on paper and make it plain. Because even if you wrote the vision and made it plain, the rest of the text says, so that he that can read it can run with it. The he that shows up better trust you. Because they won't run with it. They'll run away from you. Can I trust you? Look at your neighbor and say, can I trust you? Trust is essential. Faith is not faith without trust. Have y'all noticed that? Agreement is not agreement without trust. Trust is essential. Can I trust you? See, trust operates on a spectrum. It operates on a spectrum. What does that mean? What does that look like, Pastor? Okay. I pull my board on this side because I always normally have it over there, and I'm trying to show y'all I don't just favor them. Trust is on a spectrum. Well, if you hadn't messed up yet, everybody starts out with a little trust. Amen. We're trusting that ain't nobody up in here with COVID. And then, based on the strength of your character, you work your way across the spectrum to this place we desire to be, where we are now considered trustworthy. The displays of your character will make you vacillate up and down the spectrum. It depends on when we catch you in the vacillation. Can I trust you? And so we're trying to be healed so we can get over here and be established and not just visit. Not just be trustworthy, listen to me, circumstantially. When the right circumstances, you can trust me. That's not going to work. And see, we're working ourselves along the spectrum. You know why? Because trust has to be earned. Trust has to be earned because we start out with suspicion. And so your consistency lets me know where you can land on the spectrum. You got people in your life right now at different places, all over that right there. And over the last 2 years, some of them have slid down. Am I right about it? Because circumstances showed you something you didn't know was there. Stay with me. I'm not going to go too fast. So now the $1 million question becomes, this is the $1 million question right here, Kenny. Watch this. At what point and under what circumstances can I no longer trust your word? Let me know. Let me know now. What happens for me to not want to listen anymore? Where do you normally break off? Are y'all with me? You're looking at you, right? Not somebody else. Under what conditions does your word no longer become bond? Because normally when we first agree, you don't reveal circumstances. You just say, I got you. You just say, I'm with you. You didn't tell me that there was fine print. I'm with you until. So I moved as if we were on the same page. And see, listen, some folks right now, I'm sure there are some folks right now that will push back and they'll say stuff to me right like this, like, Pastor, I thought we weren't supposed to put our trust in men. We ain't supposed to put our trust in men, Pastor. And these are the same people who have signed marriage certificates. These are the same people that have signed contracts to buy a house and contracts to buy a car. These are the same people who have signed up to serve in ministry in other places, and they've accepted responsibility. These are the same people who say all of that, but yet we can't trust. You had to have some trust to do that. Quit laughing, Bridget. You know I'm telling the truth. But they're quick to say, we ain't supposed to trust in men. Let me show you what scripture they're normally butchering when they say that. Look at Psalms 118 and 8. Somebody just read that out for me. Just say it. Just be bold. Say it. Read. It is what? Better. Does that say do not trust man? They don't. Does anybody see that where it says don't trust man? But it's forming a comparison, isn't it? It is saying this: if you find yourself in a position where you got to choose between God and man, who you choosing? I'm going with God. If God has said something to me and you come and try to contradict it, I'm going to have to go with God. But it's not telling me that I can go through life and not trust man. It's just saying that sometimes men will put you in position where they make you choose. And if you try to make me choose, you've already lost. Everybody who tried to make me choose between them and God has consistently lost with me. And it wasn't that I didn't trust them in some areas of my life. It's just that apparently we reached our end. But it's not in any way, shape, or form telling you not to trust God. As you look around, there's trust everywhere. Even in this Sunday service, I have to trust the music ministry, that they uphold the agreements that we have, that we're trying to create a certain atmosphere. And so there's trust that they'll learn their music, and there's trust that they'll come out and give God their best. There's trust that Travis and the musicians will learn what they're supposed to do and not just give a mediocre effort toward it, because that doesn't line up with the atmosphere that we agreed to create. I have to trust that the ministers are prepared when they come up here. They honor the time, but they also honor the quality. I have to trust that the ushers are going to be in place to make sure you feel welcome and warm and make sure that you have everything you need. I have to trust that. The media department has everything in sync, because we already talked about it and we agreed to it before the lights came on. I have to trust that so that you can sit down and you feel like everything is in order. That's trust everywhere. Because you can't do nothing without it. The question is, how much can I trust you? Because your delivery of the agreement is revealing to me the character, the depth of your character. Did you give it like you said it? Or did you just give what you wanted to? Are y'all listening? I got to trust somebody. I feel like I need to pause right here and let y'all breathe a minute. Y'all all right? So let's talk about trust. What is trust? Let's put that slide up, team. What's trust? Trust reliance on the character of someone. That's what I'm doing. When I give you trust, I'm relying on your character. You know why? Because if we are in relationship, the fact that we are in relationship means at some point I am going to entrust you with something. And me entrusting you is I put something of value to me in your possession for safekeeping. Did y'all see that? The proof of trust is that I entrust. I put trust in you. And when I put trust in you, I'm giving you something of value to me for you to keep safe. I expect you to guard it. I expect you to fight for it. And basically, what is it that I'm giving you? When we're in relationship, what am I giving you for safekeeping? My heart. Marriage. I'm standing up there saying my vows, making all of these promises. What I'm really doing, if I wanted just to summarize it up, I am offering you the contents of my heart. My dreams, my values, my fears. And you're supposed to do what? Protect them. I've given you the right to mark me. And I'm trusting that you'll mark me good. That these marks that you place on me, you can walk away and I'm still good. Friendship. What am I giving you? My heart. And I'm expecting you to be able to share my dreams. And the scripture says, give my business to you. And guess what happens? What you going to do with my business? Protect it. It ain't going to be all over the place. The good stuff about me and the bad stuff about me, because I got to tell you some bad too, because we're supposed to confess our sins one to another. And so if I can't tell you that I messed up, you ain't my friend if you don't keep it. And if you can't keep it safe, you got a problem with your character. And the moment you show me it ain't safe with you, I got to push you back down the spectrum. You just limited what we can do together. Am I making sense to anybody? When I decide to be a member of your church and be church family with you, guess what I'm giving you access to? My heart. We ought to be able to talk dreams and visions and goals, but also temptations and struggles. Because the Bible said that if there's anybody that's going to hold me up in my time of struggle, it's going to be my church family. If anybody's going to be praying for me when I can't pray for myself, it's going to be my church family. If anybody's going to come see about me, I know God is coming, but sometimes God comes in the form of my church family. If there's anybody I shouldn't be worried about spreading curses as opposed to praying well wishes, it won't be because you know I've given you access to every time we worship together, my chest is wide open. And it's supposed to be safe. And if my testimony wasn't safe with you, it ain't me. It's your character. Can somebody say amen? Can somebody say ouch? So the question again is, can I trust you? And listen, that's not just me asking somebody else that, but the person I got to ask that question of the most is me. Because there's a disconnect between where I want to go and where I'm allowing myself to. Did you hear that? There's a place I want to be, but I ain't allowing myself because I'm not allowing myself to be healed. And you know, the only way to be healed is let the wounded place get touched. You can't break something, go to the emergency room and say, don't touch me. When you break something, you go there, it seems like they create more pain. But what I've come to understand is that my healing is more intensified than the thing that caused me to hurt. I got to allow some pain to grow past the pain. But when you tell me I'm getting hurt again, that's when I run. And this is what I told y'all the other week. I said, here's what happens. Let's just be real. Realize you don't mess something up. You don't fix it. You just do what? Take your ball and go home. You pack up and go somewhere else. Because you blame it on the atmosphere. It's almost like what an abuser does. I wouldn't have hit you if you hadn't. You make me. And so I'm going to leave you because you caused me to hurt you. And I tell people, I said, just be, they're like, I can't believe, blah, blah, blah. They left. And then I said, it's going to happen again. Y'all got quiet right there. If the character has not been healed, it is going to happen again. You want the first one, and you ain't going to be the last. Unless somebody allows God to heal. So when does your character break down so that I can know how far we can go? See, listen, trust is an interesting balance. It's an interesting balance of two things. Watch this. We don't want to trust people who come across as too weak. Because if you're too weak, you can't guard nothing. But we don't want to trust people that come across as too strong. Because if you're too strong, I can't relate to you. And first of all, I think you're faking it. Because I ain't never met nobody who got it together that much. And so I can't trust you if it seems like we're worlds apart anyway. Relate means the basis of relationship. So if we can't relate, we can't have a relationship. Am I making sense? So listen, here's some answers for you. In order to be trusted, I need a mixture of vulnerability and strength. The vulnerability comes from me. The strength comes from God. Let me show you how Jesus demonstrated that. When Jesus went to Gethsemane, he took with him the three most outspoken disciples. He took the ones that always declared, I got you. He took the ones that wanted to be closest to him, the ones who declared they want to sit on his left and his right. He took the ones who felt like they had it together. And see, and listen, I want you to understand something. People have a problem with you being overconfident. God does not, because he said, I'm going to whittle that down till I can work with it. Because it's easier to work with people who believe in themselves than people who don't. So people who overbelieve, God can just kind of temper you down into the right place. And so I understand why Jesus seemed to be fascinated with these three. And so he takes them to this place called Gethsemane. And while he's in Gethsemane, he begins to demonstrate this, what I just told you. Over in Matthew 26, verse 38, Tina. The most powerful being on the earth is demonstrating the power of vulnerability. And he tells these people the stuff that we don't have anybody, because most of us don't have anybody that we trust to talk to like this. You got somebody you trust that you can tell them this. Here he is. Can you be in a position of leadership and authority and still tell somebody you're struggling? Or do you got to fake it? You got to fake it till you break it. Not fake it till you make it. Fake it till you break it. And so Jesus says to them, listen, fellas, he said, my soul is deeply grieved to the point of death. He's telling them, listen, here's what he's saying. He's saying, my emotions are getting the best of me. Brothers, that's a statement that's real hard for us to do because we hadn't been conditioned. You know, we're trying to create a safe place for you to do that, but most of us have been raised that we don't even talk about it, let alone display it. That's why our chest bursts open with heart attacks and high blood pressure, because we have no outlet. We have nobody to say, yo, man, listen, I'm losing it, bro. Ladies have been more encouraged to share their feelings with their sisters. And so here we got men, Jesus, a man's man going, listen, my emotions are really getting the best of me. How do you know? Listen, how do you know when you've stumbled over into your broken place in your life and the place where you might be getting ready to mess it up? Is when you can be honest and say, I'm at a place where my emotions are getting the best of me. Can't seem to control my feelings. And when I can't control my feelings, I can't seem to control my mouth. It was bad enough when it was my feelings, but when it was my feelings, it was contained. But the moment I let it out my mouth, I began to become infectious. Now I'm dragging other people in. I have to be able to listen and I'm talking about a leader too. I'm talking about being qualified to lead. I have to have somebody in my circle that I trust enough to go, I'm about to snap. Am I making sense to you? We've witnessed so many people snapping over the last 2.5 years. Not because there wasn't help available, but because they harbored a trust issue. I ain't got nobody that I trust. And so Jesus is telling them, listen, I need you to do something. And he's demonstrating to us what we have to do. Listen, this is very practical. How do I get through this? Well, first let me stop, because I just want to see how honest we're going to be. Who's been here? And I feel myself getting out of control. Let's be real courageous. Who's there now? Okay. I just want to make sure God gave us a timely word. Jesus demonstrates the solution. First, because you got to understand, please get this. God is not going to let you exclude us. Say that again. I know some of you want to do that. You want to do this thing just me and God. God ain't going to let you exclude us. So Jesus demonstrates how to come through this broken place. First, you got to get some people that you trust to pray. And these weren't the best prayers, were they? I'm sure they said a few words before they fell off to sleep. I don't need you, Travis, to pray for me for 3 hours, but if I can get just about 15 seconds, I got to find somebody who will pray for me. Why would God do that? He said, because I don't want your pain to justify you disconnecting. I want to make sure you know that no matter what you go through, you can't walk away from us. Because if you walk away from us, you're just like the gazelle that got away from the pack and the lion is watching. The gazelle that doesn't run with the pack is not brave. He's foolish. because he's easy prey. Because the lion is far stronger than he'll ever be. You're up against an enemy that you're no match for by yourself. Scripture said he is the wisest creation God has ever made. And so he's smarter than you. I always get a little nervous when I hear folks say stuff like, we're gonna step on the devil's head and do all this stuff. I'm like, I'm leaving that junk alone. You ain't got no faith. No, I got word. I'm going to leave him alone. Because if Michael says, I can't rebuke you. Michael said, the Lord God has to rebuke you. Michael said, I'm a bad somebody. Ain't nobody bad like me. But you are ranked higher than me. I'm going to leave you alone. But I know who got you. I know who got your number. So I ain't stomping on no heads. I'm going to go over here and pray and let my daddy get you. I ain't got time to be fighting you. I got stuff to do. I'm just going to tell my daddy on you. Ain't got time for that. And so I don't want to start mishandling people who have been a blessing to me. So I need to recognize when my emotions are getting the best of me. And see, I want you to understand something. I'm going to get you out of here, I promise. I was trying not to preach long today. Vulnerability gives you, listen, the right to lead because it shows others that you're still growing and that you, listen to this word, still teachable. People don't want somebody who ain't got nothing else to learn. You trying to act like you got it all together does not impress anybody but you. You trying to act like you got it all together actually stirs up suspicion. Am I right about it? I need everybody to hear that so somebody who's faking the funk can stop faking it because we see you. And if we can't see you, we can see the folk attached to you who get to deal with the real you. That's evidence of where you are. But it makes you teachable. So in the garden, Jesus can be seen. Listen, in the garden, Jesus can be seen negotiating with the Father. Yeah, Jesus was. And that settles my heart a little bit, Key, because sometimes I don't give God a quick yes. Sometimes I try to give God different scenarios that are more suitable for me. You know, he tells me A, and I say, I got a B and a C plan. And so I see Jesus negotiating with God. Anybody ever tried that? Don't lie. All your hands should go up on that. Try to negotiate with God. Let me do it. If I go around this way, I'll do it, Jesus. But if you ask me to go straight down the middle. He's negotiating with the Father. Watch this. Listen. He's allowing himself to be corrected. If you're not vulnerable, you can't be corrected. If you can't be corrected, you can't be healed. If you can't be healed, you can't move past the breaking point. Y'all hear me? You're stumped not because it's not available. You're stumped because you're stubborn. And you got to allow God to heal past this breaking point. And see, here's what's amazing. I need you to get this. Because when God heals, see, we avoid healing because we think it's just painful, but we don't understand there's benefits to this. Let me show you what happens when God heals. I'm going to show you John's account of what Jesus was like when he came out. John 18, verse 5 and 6. Give me 5 more minutes. And it said this. He said, they answered him. This is Jesus coming out of the garden. They answered him, Jesus the Nazarene, he said to them, I am he. And Judas also, who was betraying him, was standing with him. See, I can still keep it together when my enemy's right in front of me. Same one that used to eat off my plate. Sometimes we crumble when we see familiar faces fighting us. It's amazing how folk can go from I love you to get them. And so when he said to them, I am he, they drew back and fell to the ground. The correction that the Father placed, listen, the correction that the Father placed in Jesus gave him the power to push past the place of his struggle. Did you get that? See, the reason you won't go forward is because you don't believe God will give you the power to. It is his correction that gives you the power to do it. If you apply the word, you apply what's being taught, you have a memory of failure that keeps you from moving forward. But I'm telling you, the application of the word now allows you to get past the place that you used to be. Jesus came out of the garden so powerful that he had to turn himself down so they could arrest him. He came out, are you the one? I am. And he was so powerful that he has to turn himself down. God desires to make you so anointed, Travis, that in some settings you have to realize, I'm too much for them. Let me just when you like that, be in that position. Wouldn't it be nice, Jamal? Because too many times we get in a situation where we think we small, we grasshoppers. Imagine God equipping you to the point where you're in situations, new opportunities, and you go, ooh, I'm on too bright. I didn't lose the power, I'm controlling it. I'm like Paul. When I'm with the Jews, I act like the Jews. When I'm with the Gentiles, I act like the Gentiles. I never lose who I am. I'm just adjusting myself so you can still hear me. I'm adjusting myself so you can still listen to me, because I don't want to show that I'm too powerful because you may not trust me. Are y'all listening? I give you that example because if you allow yourself to be teachable, what God deposits in you gives you the power to push past it. See, if I teach like I'm supposed to teach, I'm challenging you every Sunday. And I'm making you look at something that you thought you weren't ready to deal with. But I'm here to tell you that after the day, you have now had a deposit that says, I got power. I just got to go turn it on. But the thing that qualified me is that I showed up still believing I need to be taught. I showed up realizing and being honest that I'm broken in some places, and this broken place has stopped me too many times, and I need to go forward. Are y'all with me? I hope you are. Real quick, just put Isaiah 55 and 11. I don't really need it, but I'm going to just use it anyway just to kind of seal it. Because this is what happens when God puts the word in you. He says, so will my word be which goes forth from my mouth. It will not return to me empty. King James says, void. God says, listen, if you receive what I'm saying to you, you won't come back empty-handed anymore. If you'll just apply this and go put it to the test. He said, I promise you, you'll go get what you went after, because I just gave you another level of power. God's activated word is what equips you and gives you power to go beyond the place that used to stump you. Are you hearing that? I used to not be able to lead past this. Every time I got right here, the enemy pulled my file, and he set the same scenario up for me, because he knew I would get emotional, and I'd get suspicious, and I'm going to burn it all down. Anybody been an arsonist? I done burned down a whole bunch of stuff that I look back now if that needed to live. And so the enemy had me figured out. Every time I went to church, shouted enough, danced enough, got enough inspiration to go try it again, I didn't get healed. Because I still want to address what was wrong with me. I just felt good. I didn't lay on the altar till God dealt with me. I didn't tell God the truth about me. And I didn't receive word that spoke directly to my stuff. Cut me, God. Give me the two-edged sword. Cut me right here where it's already bleeding, so I can get better, because my life has been and now I'm weary. And now I'm getting, watch this. You do that long enough, You know what the devil do? Make you suspicious of God. God don't want you to go no further. No, God says you're not doing it right. I'm going to stop. Tina, put the takeaway up because I could keep going, and I'm not. Takeaway says this. Thank y'all for being patient with me this morning. You knew it was going to happen. It's first day back. The healing of your character will make you more trustworthy to God and to who? Tell somebody I need them both. If you can be teachable, God will entrust. Put something of value. I didn't say that like I should have. God puts his word in you. He's putting something of value and power in you. God will entrust you with great truths that can carry you beyond where your character normally fails you. And then we began the exciting Zoe life of going from faith to faith. And then glory to glory. Anybody want that? We're going to get that. Come on, stand. Come on, stand. Let's get you out of here. Pastor done preached all day, but who's going to apply the word? Anybody? And we apply it, then we believe it's starting to make sense too now, right? I need this word to, he says, listen, let me show you how scripture supports what I'm saying. Watch how you finish this. Some of you will. And he sent his word to heal our diseases. He sent his word to fix where I'm broken. My life has been putting me at dis-ease. And then he sent word to heal. And now I can go past where used to be my limit. And I stumble across a place where my character fails me. I don't show out on you. I find me 2 or 3 that pray for me. And then I go lay myself at his feet. And you can't listen. And I promise we're going to pray. If you're going to be in the house, where do your 2 or 3 have to come from? And watch this. Your resistance to that statement just revealed your broken place. You can ignore it and stay stuck. Because you'll just go to another house with people who remind you of us. Because you'll show up and you'll still make the same impressions. You'll fake it for a little while. But if healing hasn't taken place, you will come out of you. Because you got an enemy who has an extensive file on you. And he knows how to make you act up. Haven't you said certain people know how to push your buttons? The enemy knows how to push your buttons and allow you to sabotage yet again. Let's be healed. Bow your heads for me. Thank you so much for your patience. Father, we're here again because salvation is necessary. It's needed. We believe there's somebody in here who may not have had the courage or inspiration to raise their hand earlier, but they're ready now. Somebody's in here ready to give his or her life to you because they need everything that was discussed today. Everything that was said today was for the believer, and they need to become a believer. So draw, God, as your word says you will. If you are in this place right now and you're ready to give your life to Christ, you may have even thought you were saved, but now you're questioning it, and you just want to be certain. This is your moment. All heads are bowed, everybody's eyes are closed, nobody's staring. Nothing to be ashamed of. This is your moment of healing. If I'm talking to you, let's put that hand in the air for me real quick, just for about 2 seconds. 1, 2 seconds. And then you can pull it back down. I just want to identify where you are. Are you here? Give them courage, your courage, God. Encourage them. Put your courage in them. Are you here? Father, you've assembled your leaders today. Some of us are certain of our leadership. Some of us are reluctant leaders, but leaders nonetheless, having to first learn to lead ourselves. And so we heard what you said, and your word didn't miss any of us. Nobody escaped today. It touched us all. Lord, we yield to it. We don't fight you. We don't resist you. Holy Spirit, we actually encourage you. Help us to apply it, and apply it now. Our tomorrows aren't promised, so we want to get it right immediately. Thank you for being that kind of God. Master, now I say I thank you for how you kept every soul that's in here as death has swept through the land. It is almost as if you put blood over our doorposts. And once again, the death angel had to pass over us. And God, here's what I know about that. Once the angel passed over us, once Israel made it through the plague, you didn't let them out. We expect to be let out of every form of bondage, every form of captivity, to look like the children of God. We thank you. We bless you. In Jesus' name. I love you, CYM.